Marcus, mate, I've got to say, when you mentioned we'd be diving into Jacob wrestling with God, I was intrigued. Like, that sounds intense, doesn't it?
Oh, James, it absolutely is. And it's not just intense, it's one of those pivotal stories, that really changes everything for a character. And it's full of so much metaphor, even if you're not particularly religious. It's Genesis 32, right? It's about Jacob. He's on his way back home after living with Laban for like 20 years, and he's about to face his brother Esau. And he's terrified, absolutely petrified, because, last time they saw each other, Esau wanted to kill him for stealing his birthright and blessing. So Jacob, he's sending gifts ahead, trying to appease Esau. Then he sends his whole family, all his possessions, everything across the Jabbok River. And then he's left, just alone. It's a night of pure, unadulterated dread for him.
So he's strategically isolating himself, really, to protect them or maybe to face his fears solo. It's like he's setting up for this big confrontation, and then bam, he's just on his own. That's a powerful image, isn't it? Just one man by himself facing a river and, his past?
Yeah, precisely. He's alone, vulnerable, anticipating, the worst. And it's in this absolute solitude, this moment of ultimate internal and external pressure, that something truly extraordinary happens. The Bible just says, a man wrestled with him until daybreak. A man. It's so understated, but wow, what an arrival, right? Imagine, you're just there, probably pacing, maybe praying, maybe just staring into the dark, and suddenly, out of nowhere, you're in a full-on physical struggle. It's not a conversation, not a gentle touch. It's an immediate, no-holds-barred wrestle. And James, it goes on all night. Not for a minute, not for an hour, but from dusk till dawn.
All night, blimey. So this isn't just some random bandit then, is it? Because if it were just a person, surely Jacob, who's, a pretty capable guy, would have overpowered him, or at least they'd have finished it sooner. The fact it goes on for hours, it suggests something more. Is this a physical struggle, or is it like a spiritual one that just manifests physically? It's so ambiguous, that a man part.
Absolutely. That's the beauty of it, isn't it? It starts as this very physical thing, this wrestling match, but it quickly transcends that. It becomes clear this isn't just a human opponent. I mean, think about it. If it were just a man, Jacob wouldn't be able to hold his own all night against a divine being, which is what many scholars believe this man to be, an angel or even God himself in some form. And the fact that the man couldn't overpower Jacob, that Jacob was holding his own, tells you about Jacob's incredible tenacity too. He wasn't giving up.
So, as dawn approaches, the man sees he can't overpower Jacob. Think about that for a second. An angelic or divine being can't overpower a human. That's a pretty strong testament to Jacob's sheer will. So what does he do? He touches Jacob's hip socket, and just like that, Jacob's hip is wrenched. It's a single touch, a supernatural move, not a punch or a kick, but a dislocation that immediately puts Jacob at a disadvantage. But even then, James, Jacob doesn't let go. He's injured, probably in excruciating pain, but he clings on. It's a refusal to yield. He's like, I will not let you go unless you bless me.
Wow, that's incredible. He's literally holding on for dear life and for a blessing. It really highlights his desperation, doesn't it? All his life he's been striving, manipulating, trying to get blessings by his own effort. And now here he is, broken, injured, unable to fight anymore, but still clinging to the source of blessing. It's a complete shift, isn't it? From trying to take it to begging for it.
Exactly. It's the culmination of his life's journey in that one moment. He's always been the heel grabber, the one who tries to take what he wants. But here he's brought to his knees, literally, by this injury, and his only recourse is to hold on and ask. He can't fight his way to the blessing anymore. He has to receive it. And that vulnerability, that raw need, is what opens him up to a transformation far deeper than just getting a blessing. It's profound. Just absolutely profound.
So he asks for the blessing, right? And what happens? Does he get it? Does the man finally tell him who he is?
He does, James. Oh, he absolutely does. The man asks Jacob, "What is your name?"
And Jacob answers, giving his birth name, Jacob. And then the man declares, "Your name will no longer be Jacob, but Israel, because you have struggled with God and with humans and have overcome." Wow, right? Jacob, the supplanter, the deceiver, is now Israel, meaning he struggles with God or God strives. It's a completely new identity forged in that night of struggle. It's not just a blessing, it's a renaming, a complete redefinition of who he is. And this new name, Israel, it's not just for him. It becomes the name of an entire nation. It's incredible.
Goodness. So his very identity is changed because of this struggle. And he doesn't even get the man's name, does he? He asks, "Tell me your name." And the man just replies, "Why do you ask my name?" And then blesses him there. It's like the identity of the divine isn't the point. It's Jacob's changed identity, his new relationship. And he calls the place Peniel, face of God, because he says, "I have seen God face to face, and yet my life was spared." That's some serious stuff, Marcus, really.
It is, and this isn't just about a name change. It's about a fundamental shift in Jacob's understanding of himself and his relationship with God. He's been humbled, injured, but also incredibly blessed and transformed. He limps away from that encounter, a physical reminder of his struggle, but also a symbol of his new strength. And here's the kicker. The next morning, he meets Esau, the brother he'd been so terrified of. But Jacob, the Israel who wrestled with God, approaches Esau not in fear, but with a new sense of humility and peace. And Esau, surprisingly, runs to meet him, embraces him, and they weep together. The very fear that drove Jacob to that solitary night of struggle is now completely diffused.
Bloody brilliant. So the struggle with God, it changed how he approached his earthly problem, didn't it? He faced the divine, and that gave him the strength, or the perspective to face his biggest human fear. And he walks away with a limp, a permanent reminder, but also like a badge of honor, really. It's like sometimes you have to go through the toughest struggles, to really find out who you are and what you're capable of.
Absolutely, James. This story, it teaches us so much. It's about perseverance, not letting go even when it hurts, right? It's about transformation that often comes through struggle, not avoidance. And it's about encountering the divine in unexpected, sometimes painful ways. It's a powerful reminder that our deepest transformations often happen when we're at our most vulnerable, grappling with our fears, and daring to ask for a blessing, even when we feel completely broken.
And that limp isn't just a physical injury. It's a lifelong reminder for Jacob that he's not entirely self-sufficient anymore. He had to rely on something beyond himself. And that reliance, that humility, actually led to his greatest blessing and his new identity. It's a profound lesson for us, right? Sometimes our biggest struggles are actually opportunities for our greatest growth and transformation, forcing us to lean on something bigger than ourselves.
That's a fantastic point, Marcus. It's not about winning in the traditional sense, is it? It's about enduring, about finding strength in vulnerability, and allowing that experience to fundamentally reshape you. We all have our Peniel moments, don't we? Those times when we feel like we're wrestling with something far bigger than ourselves, where we're desperate for a breakthrough, a blessing, or just a bit of clarity.
Totally. And the takeaway isn't go find a stranger to wrestle with. It's about, being present in those struggles, not running from them, and understanding that real change, real blessing, often comes on the other side of that tenacity. And for anyone listening who wants to dive deeper into incredible stories like Jacob's, or just understand the Bible more, we've actually got a free Bible course available on our channel page. Just look for the link. So like, share, subscribe, and join us there for more transformative journeys. We'd love to have you.